This city is located amidst 1,000 blue lakes. The northern nature is what attracts millions of tourists. The country is a famous destination for trekking, fishing, and adventurous sports. I've come here for one day only, and in hopes of walking through the beautiful forests and getting some fresh air. I've chosen to stay in a cozy cottage some ways away from the city. How gorgeous! Everything here accommodates feeling well-rested and having an invigorating morning walk to meet a new city, Helsinki. My name is Diana, and I'm going to get to know one more capital. Helsinki is often called a city of parks because more than a third of the city area is occupied by various squares, green zones, and gardens. Of course, while a park isn't the most exciting news for us, there is one park, the Musical Park, which is definitely worth a visit. Although you can't say Finland has all the world's most famous composers, it is undeniable that they are the deeply admired here. There are streets, parks, residential complexes named after composers. This is, for example, a park named after John Sibelius, who wrote the unofficially best-known Finnish melody. To Finns, he is like what Pushkin is to Russian people, one of the most significant figures in culture's history. After all, he did write the national anthem. The monument is made out of 600 hollow pipes welded together in an unusual wave-like pattern, which, when the wind is blowing, creates a beautiful melody. Unfortunately, we aren't lucky with the breeze today, since we can't hear anything and the weather is getting a bit worse. The weather is pretty volatile here. Be wary. The sun can disappear almost as quickly as it can reappear. I think it's the perfect time for a cup of coffee. By the way, coffee first appeared here in the 18th century and was deemed a dangerous drink by a strict Lutheran church, which is why it was banned initially. But of course, the forbidden fruit tasted even sweeter, so Finns were afraid. Just think about it. In Helsinki alone, as many as 100 people were spotted drinking coffee. A century later, the first coffee shop was opened, which is exactly where I am heading right now to have some Finnish coffee. One thing to expect is that nothing happens very fast here. I would suggest taking this into account when planning your day. Actually, now coffee is an essential part of Finnish life. I was very surprised to learn that people here drink more coffee than any other country in the world. That is more than Spaniards, more than Italians. Unbelievable. Finnish coffee is very similar to American-style coffee. It is pretty mild, but quite flavorful. I love places where local people go. This, in my opinion, indicates authentic quality. Well, and the prices are more affordable too, which is an important factor to consider when rather expensive country. In general, the atmosphere hasn't changed at all. Everything is how it used to be 100 years ago. The same wicker chairs, the same mirrors, and marble tables. You can also go for a walk along the seashore. Well, of course, it may not be the perfect season for swimming. The locals seem to consider their climate to be quite pleasant. However, 500 years ago, life here was unimaginable. Helsinki is a relatively young European city. It was first established in 1550. Envying the wealth of neighboring Revel, present-day Tallinn, the Swedish king Gustav Vasa thought, why should money just pass me by? And started construction. Yet Finns didn't really appreciate the idea from the get-go and didn't want to move, so the king had to use force. Besides, the place chosen wasn't very suitable, to be honest. They began construction at the mouth of a river running into the Baltic Sea. It turned out to be a bit too shallow for merchant ships, so they had to move everything up 5 kilometers. But it still didn't go as well as expected, and Helsingfors remained a type of backwoods for a while. The most modern and creative things are congregated here, in the heart of Helsinki. On one hand, you can go to the Design Museum, and on the other, the Design District. And this seems to me a more interesting idea, because there are many as 25 streets of shops, boutiques, art galleries, and you could definitely find something authentically Finnish there. I'm sure I'll get lucky enough to find something. And the Design District is not that far from Diana Park. The design district was established not long before they decided to create a new urban environment. Entire tourist groups of shoppers are brought here, so in the afternoon it can get quite crowded. So if you don't have much time, visit the design district before noon. This building, which looks like some kind of UFO, or maybe a little troll's hut, is actually a Lutheran church. By the way, it's relatively young, seeing as it was built only half a century ago. The Finnish name is impossible to pronounce, but it translates to the Temple Square. Locals call it the Anti-Satanic Defensive Bunker. I assure you that you won't see anything else like this anywhere else in the world. It's open from 9:30 to 6 in the evening. The entrance fee is $4.70 for adults. Children under 17 can enter for free. The church in the rock was built by the architect brothers Somalian. At first, they just wanted to use the rough rock only for the external facade. But then they had a great idea to lay dynamite into the rock and blow it up. Then they built this dome over the gaping crater, and the church was ready. Simple and elegant, classic Scandinavian minimalism, this visit doesn't take up too much time, but you can always stay longer to enjoy the music, for as long as your heart desires. By the way, they have amazing acoustics here. Even the prominent Russian cellist and conductor Rostropovich believed that it was the best acoustics in the world. That's why they had often host organ classical and even rock concerts here. Well, it's not called the Rock Church for nothing. If you decide to spend a day in Helsinki, I recommend you buy a transport card. It costs $10.60 and will definitely pay off because one trip by transport costs $3.60. And although the distances here are short, it's still a waste of time. You might need to stay in a line for some time. It's crazy here today. You can buy these cards in tourist centers known as kiosks or at transport hubs like this here, Southport. I must say that one of the 3 machines, only one is working and the ticket office isn't open at all. But this is Finland. Nobody's in a hurry. Check. The receipt, the change. Well, and the card? Oh, this is the card. No. Hello, give me my card. Hello. Give me my card. Give me my card. To be honest, I still can't fathom how this cool-headed Finnish guy managed to coax the machine into releasing my card. By the way, my transport card can also be used for a boat trip, which I'll definitely hop on to go admire Sveaborg. It's so cold. A regular ticket would cost me $6. Ferries leave every 20 minutes and take the same amount of time to get to Sveaborg. Keep in mind, in Swedish, this fortress is called Sveaborg, which means a Swedish fortress. Yet in Finnish, it's Samanilina, which means Finnish fortress. Both these names coexist quite legitimately, yet these are not 2 different places. The excursion around the Swedish fortress, Sveaborg, is extensive and interesting that it would take all day. But I only have 1 day, so I'll have to miss it. But at least I can admire the fortress from outside. Honestly, the trip taking me 15 minutes there and 15 minutes back was totally worth it. The view of the fortress across the 7 islands is breathtaking, and even though the trip is short, it'll be remembered for long. But I'm terribly cold. It's so crowded here, so many people. The market square is a bustling place. Actually, it could also easily be called the fish square. This square was first mentioned in the game of fish trade as early as the 16th century. And now there are berries, all these different gifts of nature. Cool! Look at these chantillies. Bright, beautiful, delicious. And this is some unidentifiable species. But here, they call it superlachevo. I'm not sure what they taste like, but I think they taste excellent in a soup. But the most important thing I discovered here is the street food. I don't want to waste time going somewhere for lunch. I'm starting to get a better grasp of the local pace. And sometimes it's great to get eating on the go. The main dish here is fish. I've decided to try some smelt fish. I've seen enough of the sea. I'm hungry by now, so let's do it. They even gave me some garlic sauce. It cost a total of $10. Not too cheap. Delicious. But the fish is the freshest, and there's a lot of it. Great. I'm having trouble finishing all this, so I've decided to violate a local law against feeding seagulls. Here, all right, and for you. Here, of course. They're happy to eat $10 of smelt fish. I have enjoyed eating here too. Well, as if they're trained. And the second one, yeah! All right now. Yeah, that's enough for them. You know, I get the feeling that Finns don't care whether someone buys anything from them or not. Non-imposing Finnish service. Paradise for an introvert. Here you can find something with a design at a more affordable price than in boutiques or luxury stores. Look at this beautiful porcelain set. Great glasses. Doesn't it just make you want to toast to someone's health? I'm not sure what this is made of, but sounds great. I still have a half a day ahead of me, and I'm afraid of getting too tired too soon because I haven't seen the main square yet. Well, now I'm at the Senate Square. In the center, you can see a monument important to both Finns and Russians. Until the 19th century, Finland was Swedish territory, and Swedes weren't very interested in the self-determination of the Finnish people. After the Northern War, these lands became a part of the Russian Empire. It was then that Helsinki became the capital and Finland really began to develop. Finns are very fond of the Russian Emperor Alexander II. It was under his reign that Finland ceased to be considered the middle of nowhere. Russian emperors didn't spare any money on their northern territories. At the same time, at St. Petersburg's St. Isaac Cathedral, the magnificent St. Nicholas's Cathedral was being built here. The architects were local, but the result of their work is stunningly similar to the Montferrand Cathedral in St. Petersburg. The place is popular not only among the city natives, but among tourists too. The cathedral was built under the Russian Emperor Nicholas I's reign, and overall, its interiors are very similar to what you see in St. Petersburg, but this staircase is special. The fifth step here is magical, so count carefully. You can make a wish standing on it. 5. 5. Of course, it would be lovely to linger a bit longer and look at the building of the university as well as the town hall, but the autumn sun is quite low here. Well, honestly, very low. So I've got to hurry up to catch one particular museum in the daylight. My fight with the ticket machine wasn't a waste after all. The Helsinki tram system is not only a means of transport, but also the history and sound of the city. The tram appeared here in the 19th century, and the Helsinki tram network is one of the oldest in Europe. It's very convenient to get around the city by tram, so your transport card will definitely pay off. The street we are riding down right now is called Alexander Rinkatu. They named it in the honor of the Russian Emperor Alexander I. They love and respect him here, just like Alexander II. I know that there's a very funny monument in honor of blacksmiths on this street. I'll have to take a photo with it. And here are the blacksmiths. It's time to get off the tram. Look, how beautiful. I doubt you would ever find something like this in Russia. But we should really have some monuments like this, actually. This is a monument in solidarity to working people. But this idea somehow did not catch on, and the townspeople prefer to tell a beautiful legend about these hot Finnish guys. Those who have read Karnevale myths will understand where it comes from. In ancient times, blacksmiths were thought to possess not only skill, but also magic. Once upon a time, an evil witch promised to let her beautiful daughter marry a man who could manufacture happiness for her. In honor of this national folktale, the statue of 3 blacksmiths who hammer out this happiness were erected here. When they see a woman more beautiful than the daughter of that evil witch, they will lower their hammers, and Helsinki will hear the sound of an anvil. How can I go on after this? Well, okay, I guess they have different beauty standards here, so go on, keep standing there with your hammers. And I'll go on and hop onto the same tram. I have 3 more hours before sunset, and there's a lot more to do. The Museum of Contemporary Art, Kiasma, was built in a distinctly Finnish way, meaning thoroughly. By the way, the entrance fee here is only $16, and every first Friday of the month, it's free. I don't always understand contemporary art, so I mostly wanted to come and check out the original concept behind the building itself. The architect chose the human body as a measure for the museum's interior space. That is, the average height, 5.4 feet, just like me. Check it out. Exactly. But the most interesting thing in Kiasma is the lighting. I'm happy. I rushed over to get here before dark. In Finland, the sun never rises too high, and the architect designed the building in such a way that allows these slanting rays to pass through the building's glass architecture, producing remarkable lighting effects. Before leaving, I'll drop by to see the museum shop. Maybe I'll buy something there. And these are mummy trolls. They're a big deal here in Finland. Everyone loves them. Look how cute they are. Oh my goodness. This is a great souvenir shop. And in a very Finnish style. This is how I imagine the ideal Finnish design to be. Color, everything is bright. It almost seems like a fairy tale illustration. You know, while Finland isn't the sunniest country, even though I got surprisingly lucky. I really want these cool wooden sunglasses, made of organic material. Just how they like it here. And it seems like they really suit me. Awesome. But really, these are pretty cool shades. I should get them, right? Well, actually, I've managed to see everything that I was planning to, and I even have some time and energy to spare. Now the locals are going for a walk. And you can feel the spirit of Helsinki, again, in the very center, not far from the places I visited today. The evening life is in full swing, across the sidewalks and boulevards. The sounds of the city continue to enchant me. I love the street musicians. They're so uplifting and quite talented. The atmosphere immediately feels romantic. Wait a minute. What about dinner? I haven't even eaten anything today. Smelt fish shared with seagulls doesn't really count. Considering that I'm in the best restaurants and cafes of Helsinki, it won't be a problem to find somewhere nice to eat. Traditional Finnish cuisine is simple and straightforward. Well, of course, there are Michelin-star restaurants in Helsinki for people who can afford fine cuisine, but I'm going to the trendy restaurant Strindberg, where I'll try the Nordic cuisine of Finland. The restaurant is located on the most beautiful boulevard in Helsinki, Esplanade. You don't have to reserve a table in advance, which is great, don't you think? Sometimes you don't know where the day will take you. It's cold in the evening. That's clearly why there's no one hanging outside. Dinner time. Oh, it's fancy here. It has an atmosphere of a literary cafe and a pleasant crowd. Oh, lucky for me, there's a full menu. I already know what I'm going to have. I'll have this specialty Finnish mushroom soup because on my way here, as from the country cottage, I saw these beautiful wild mushrooms growing on the side of the road, and that image made me so hungry that I'm dying to try some soup with mushrooms right now. They already brought me this soup. I really want to try it, but it's still too hot. Looking flavorful though. It has a very, very tender, delicate taste. I really like it. Of course, some bread with butter will go nicely with this soup. Exactly what I need. I'm also going to try some fish. Brook trout. I've never heard of it. It tastes like salmon, but not as fatty. And very gentle. I like this fish. Delicious. Generally, in my opinion, this is the distinctive feature of Northern cuisine. Simple ingredients that together make works of art that are both tasty and healthy. That is, the products used are simple, so anyone could cook it, and that's nice. The portions are perfectly sized if you're hungry. You feel satisfied without being too full, and yet with some space left over for dessert. With some unpronounceable Finnish name, of course. The ice cream is incredibly creamy. It's actual ice cream. You can taste the real blueberries in there. It's not just food coloring. Delicious. This muffin really resembles a homemade sponge cake my grandmother makes. Oh, and by the way, I haven't told you about the tea. The tea is organic or natural, just like the Finns' touch. I'm positive that in one day, I've managed to hear the very voice of this unique city and feel its entirety. Helsinki is the sound of waves crashing, the screeching of a tram, the booming of a church organ, and the songs of talented street musicians. Well, I've officially added the sound of my clicking heels to this symphony. And now, by the way, it's time to go home. Hope to see you in the next city. Bye-bye!